Lifers Podcast. Get with it or get forgotten.
Welcome all you lifers out there. It's MMA Mondays done on a Sunday here again. Took a little break. I had to go to PR to handle some family matters. But I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad we had some UFC fights. Of course, we got Mikey C here. Our boy Tony Clark back in the building. And then a new guest today, Senor Lindell. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, sir, you are.
So, and of course, Kevin comes in making a quick cameo because, there it is with the shimmy.
Hey, he has clothes on this time.
This is true. This is true. Last time we got a little nip slip and a little bit of weenus action, a little elbow in there.
A little bit side ball.
I missed out on all of that.
Yeah.
Word, fellas, 251 was last night. Pretty damn good card, man. If I say so myself, I think obviously there was some decisions that I'm sure we're going to touch on that went against, I think, what most of us thought when it came to that Holloway and Volkanovski fight.
Yeah.
But man, there was some good fights. Me and Tony were just talking about that first fight with Dave.
Davey Grant.
Grant. I mean,
wow,
great way to start the
cracking. Yeah. They were getting after it immediately. I love Davey Grant. I watched him on I believe it was Ultimate Fighter. Was
it that or Contender?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Ultimate Fighter.
It was Ultimate Fighter? Okay.
Yeah, because he was out for a long time after that because I think he got injured or something like that.
All
but
right.
I've been rooting for him for a long time, so I was happy that he got the win. And that was a hell of a fight, though. They were after it against each other for sure.
Like I was saying before, man, he had to come up, overcome some adversity after getting dropped, and
right,
you can lose a little bit of morale, I guess, and he stayed with it, and I forgot the guy's name that he was fighting against, but
yeah, I was actually trying to pull it up,
but even he stayed in the pocket with them, like he wasn't trying to back down, and unfortunately he ended up paying.
Yeah, you can't be he shouldn't be upset though, because he was doing good when they were having the pocket exchanges. So you just got the bad end of it.
Exactly. Mikey, what did you think? Did you get to catch that first prelim?
That was a terrible knockout. What was that, left hook, I believe?
It was
Davey Grant. So.
He kept going hook to the body, and then the last one he went hook to the head, and the guy blocked it with the shoulder, and then he just killed it with the other.
Yep.
And
the other guy's name was Martin Day, a little bit newer, I believe, too. I don't know too much.
I think probably his debut, I would assume, right?
And you know what?
I think they did say it was his debut, right?
I think so.
Martin Day, maybe.
I was telling Mikey he wasn't moving. He reminds me of a local fighter, Alon Cruz, but Alon moves his head a lot better. And Day was not moving his head at all. He's explosive in spot. He's not like Volkanovski or Max that are just super explosive off the time. He's explosive in the spot. So if you're just gonna kind of just be throwing punches or kicks to just sting and not knock out, you gotta have a lot of head movement. And I was telling Mike, we were playing the game watching. I was telling Mike, I was like, a right hand is gonna get him out of there, and it didn't knock him out, but it set him up for that left hook.
Mm-hmm.
Set him up for that left hook.
It seemed like he was kind of like that was his thing. Like he didn't care to move his head either. Like he was just gonna push forward.
He didn't think he could get hurt, and that's a big mistake with a lot of fighters nowadays.
Yep.
A lot of
So
that left hand, Oof.
Yeah.
I think they said this was the now holds the record for longest card that they've had.
Was it?
Oh yeah, well
because of all the decisions.
Who was it that had the two nut checks that they had? It basically was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
With the Russian, it was
Roman Bogatov and Leonardo Santos.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a rough fight to see for a bit. Just like, oh man, well, and a guy that took legitimately his 5 minutes was like, I'm gonna take my time because he wasn't.
Yeah. But my thing is, okay, on that, I know we're talking about in line, but just on that, if you get low blows, do you think he should take the 5 minutes?
Of course.
Or do you just – but, who does, though? Everyone always gets pressured back into starting the fight sooner.
Yep.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is, it's hit or miss, right? If the momentum's going your way, a lot of times they'll kind of bite the bullet. he wasn't. The momentum was not swinging for him. He was kind of getting a little bit battered and pushed up against the fence and just kind of getting manhandled. And so I think he was like, bro, I'm going to take my time. And Goddard.
Yeah, he was definitely tired when he took that first
Goddard kind of gave him. Yeah, Goddard gave him the time that he needed and even like instructed Roman, whatever his the Russian
Roman Bogatov.
Exactly.
Bogatov?
He tried to let him know, like, hey, keep it up. And even with the second, I mean, he didn't even take a point, right? He hit him twice.
No, he didn't take a point for anything until the very end when he hit him with the illegal knee.
Yes. Yep. So, I mean, you take that if the momentum isn't going your way, if you're feeling a little gassed, you might as well. But you're right. In the past, I've noticed it seems like, and I don't know if maybe refs kind of feel like, oh, that wasn't that bad of a shot. I think maybe there's levels to it where maybe they feel like they can pressure him. But it seemed like at least with him, he kind of gave him all the time that he needed. So
yeah.
But what else? Let's see. Anything else stand out in the prelims and undercard? I'm trying to remember. I was running around with my daughter.
Like you said earlier, the Carol Rosa Vanessa Melo fight was good. They
good.
Really brawled. Yeah.
Vulcan against
that was someone I did research on because I was like, okay, wow, Ozdemir's on the card, and I was like, who's he fighting though? I thought, it's a debuter, so I was like, okay, they're feeding a brand new guy. I looked him up.
I heard he's had.
At the time, at the time he was 26-3.
Yeah.
He had more fights than Vulcan, and I was like, dude, this guy could be a problem. I think he was on like a 5 or 6 win streak.
Yeah, I think they have him on like a 9-fight finishing streak right now or something.
Or 9, yeah. I was just like, okay, this guy is something else. And he was getting cocky against Vulcan. He was like,
well, he reminded me of Walker. Johnny Walker.
Yeah,
like
I want to see that. I want to see that fight.
That's what I said too. But he shouldn't fight Walker.
Either one of those two fighters, I want to see against Walker.
Well, I thought Vulcan would be a good fight for John Jones. I don't know if he climbed back up, but just never got to see it, I guess.
It's not.
This guy's a problem.
I mean, but granted, I think Vulcan also took a step back, thinking himself, getting a little cocky, thinking I don't need to. Like because remember he was tagging him. He was doing this.
Yeah. He was doing good until he got finished.
Exactly.
So, finish too.
But old boy was putting his face, like daring him to hit him. He's like, hit me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. Like,
he was trying to make sure everybody remembered his name after this card.
That was for me knockout of the night. Better than the David Grant knockout.
That one was.
I mean, it was a good like that. He hit him with like a jab straight or something like that.
And he hit him with that head kick.
Killed him.
He hit him with that head kick, and after that head kick, it was just downhill from there.
Yeah.
But that's what stood out to me. How do I pronounce his name? Jiri Prochazka.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Jiri. From the Czech Republic, right?
Correct. Yeah. Denisa is his name.
Does he have a nickname? Because that'd probably be easier.
Denisa.
Not calling him Denisa.
How old is he?
He's 27. That's scary. 29.
That's crazy. And dude, to me personally, I thought dude looked huge. I was like he's tall as shit. He's muscular, like especially, and he was 205, which was crazy to me because
probably get Glover next. Glover sit him back down or something.
No. Thiago Santos is gonna kill Glover first, and then.
Oh, that's right. No, Thiago Santos is getting tapped out. I mean, you gotta remember that
he killed
Marietta was a middleweight, and he handed out a few losses.
Maheta.
He was a middleweight, and he handed out a few losses.
I know. He moved up and then got more power. He's Anthony Johnson.
True, and he did fight on a bum knee, so give him credit.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited though.
I just watched the Gegard Mousasi and Maheta fight.
Oh yeah.
Mousasi's something special, man. They should have never let him
go.
go.
Yeah, no, like, and he's actually like pound for pound special because he'll fight anybody. He don't give a fuck weight class. Like anybody who's fought Mark Hunt and fucking all the way down, like you're a beast.
He's got 45. He's got like 45 plus wins in MMA. It's crazy.
Only select
highlight reel is crazy.
Select few got that shit.
Moving on. Is there any other fights that you guys
Makwan's finished quick. He had got the anaconda choke. It was like very early on in the fight, and then he choked him in his sleep, and then he like helped him like lifted his feet up
Yeah,
afterward to get the blood flow back to his head.
Ooh.
It was rough.
That was filthy.
Actually, no,
I don't
I
even
saw
think
the
he
end of it. I
realized
saw like the
how bad it
pilot.
was. Like
Sorry,
I think he thought he was good, and then like next thing I know, the ref is pulling him off, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, ugh.
No, he was out.
that was-
It felt like he was out for a little bit longer than the ref should have let him be choked for.
I think he was going to tap, and then
Probably
like,
went to
he was
sleep
out.
in the transition. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the referee for that fight?
I can't remember. I think they had a couple
Scotty.
new refs out there too, though.
Yeah.
But I'm not
they
sure.
they seem to be out for blood because there was a couple times where I'm like, okay, this fight.
They were
over.
definitely, if he dies, he dies out there.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I would hate to be a fighter in that situation, but
Yeah. Rest in peace, Jose Aldo.
We're gonna get to that.
We will. I don't want to go to it.
Right?
Yet.
So leading
I want
into
to
the
go
main
the whole
card,
main card. Yeah.
right? Leading into the main card, Amanda Ribas and Paige Van Zant, two dimes fighting each other. I think we all kind of figured
Almost
Amanda was going to come out with the dub.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I mean, I was hoping Paige would give her more of a fight just to at least look somewhat impressive, considering she's going to be the free agent.
She was trying to leave and be free agent. Yeah.
Right.
So now you get to hold that L and take a hike.
And I felt like she didn't look horrible. It's just Amanda's just way better. And so, even
she
when
didn't look horrible, but Amanda's grappling was better than hers, and they didn't really strike because it was clinched up almost immediately.
Yeah.
And then obviously, we all know what happened after that.
yeah.
Lindell, what did you think of that fight?
You know, me and Mikey talked a little bit about her. You know, I don't I think MMA is done for her. I think, she's got a great story that she can tell that people can be inspired by, with everything she's been through. She's kind of like, Super Sage to me. Like, they have a pretty face, they have everything you need, but in the octagon, it just doesn't click for them. I just don't think she should be in there, especially not in the UFC.
I think she said, I saw something where she said she wanted to go to the WWE maybe in the future. That might be something she could go towards.
Yeah. I think the last one she's had was Rachel Ostovich.
Yeah.
I think that was her last one.
Another dime matchup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she, who's to say what kind of training she's had lately with everything? Because I believe she trains out of Oregon, right? Portland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Van
Zant, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
She trains out of Oregon.
Right, she left Alpha Male.
Yeah, she moved back to Portland with Austin Vanderbilt.
I didn't know where she went. Okay.
I mean, who's to say what kind of training maybe she was getting? I agree, Lindell. I think I think she's more like, I think she should be done.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone's gonna pay her though. I feel like somebody like a ONE FC. I don't think they're gonna.
Nobody's paying her.
I don't think they're gonna break the bank to pay her, but I think
I think she ends up at Bellator on a card with Austin, and they try to promote the Van Zants.
She's a
card.
I guess.
I know, but like she ain't changing her. She's not changing her name. She's Paige Van Zant. She's not changing her name.
Yeah.
He can change his name. He can change his name to fucking Austin Van Zant.
He's actually not that bad either. He's actually
no, he's really not. He's really not. People just hate him because he's with Paige.
Yeah, no, of course. No, he's supposed to be jealous. He's pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's legit. Yeah.
So since getting away from Paige, what do we think about Amanda now moving up in weight, being a strawweight now?
I know she wants to.
Was this at 25?
She said she wanted to do what she wanted to be like Amanda Nunes. She wants to also win the title here and then also win the title below as well.
Open up. Yeah. She's got a hard road ahead of her. I mean, if she has to go through Rose, Andrade to get to Wei Li,
the one thing I will say, at least for Ribas, at least from what I've seen, she's got good striking. She's not afraid to get hit. She'll brawl. She's got good grappling. Again, like you really submit Dern, slouch, and she just submit Paige too. So I think she's game everywhere. Obviously, we got to see her against some more like upper level because she was getting the kind of like lower side right now.
Yeah.
We got to see against some of the more killers of the division, and then, but I think it's not impossible.
Do you think she fights Andrade next?
To step up and
She could.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, they could
she was
do
7, right? Where was Amanda ranked at?
I'll tell you right
I'm
now.
not sure.
I thought they gave her like a pretty high ranking considering.
She's had some USADA, I believe, so she hasn't been too active.
I don't see her. I don't see her ranked. Hold on.
She wasn't ranked.
She may have been unranked. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was unranked. Yeah, I don't see it
Oh,
here.
wow. I thought I saw a number by her name last night.
I can't imagine them giving Paige a ranked fighter though, with the way she looks.
On the way out. Yeah.
Well, I figured that they would have because you know how the UFC does. You're going to be a free agent. Oh, well, we're going to give you somebody who we know most likely is going to beat you, so we could diminish your credibility a little bit. So, and I figured that way, if anything, it's a kind of a win-win. It's a win for the UFC because if what they expect happens, which is what ended up happening, then Paige most likely isn't going to get a crazy contract. If Paige happens to win, then for Paige's sake, since she took that fight, that brings up her stock even more if she can beat an actual ranked opponent. But if she wasn't, I mean, it is what it is.
I just want to say where women's MMA has come from the days of Strikeforce with what's the girl? Who's the actress? From
Gina Carano.
Yeah, from that point to now, like imagine Amanda Nunes back then. That it would have been like just the evolution of women's fighting in general is amazing. I mean,
100%.
Just shout out to them for being warriors and getting in there, doing their thing.
It's crazy.
We talked about that a few podcasts ago, just like how, the Gina Caranos, the Chris Cyborgs, the Ronda Rouseys of the world just started.
Even with from Ronda to now, like Ronda can't touch any of these girls, really, in my opinion.
No.
I think she'd still be top 10,
the thing
top
is
5.
with Ronda, she's just a specialist. If you're just a specialist, it's not good enough. It's starting to become not good enough, at least, to just be a specialist. Almost. Obviously, it's not.
There's
not
outliers.
exclusive.
You're right, though.
Right, like there could be. He's just mostly a grappler, but he can strike. You have Stylebender, mostly a striker, but you know what I mean. But that's more like the top of the top, though, too, though.
You guys aren't gonna like it, but I watched some old Ronda clips, and that girl's got a good clinch. She's got great knees, elbows. She can box at least a decent amount. I think that her last 2 fights don't paint her justice to what she actually was.
I agree. Like, she was good at what she did. If anything else, she was fantastic at what she did.
I won't say never, but just to have the mystique and the interest that Ronda had when she fought, we'll never see that again. Like, Nunes is a different type of mystique.
Right.
Well,
No, she's more like
in the media, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ronda was very brash and open.
Yeah.
Nunes is humble and like just great. She's basically like a GSP to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I mean, and I think you're right. I think she definitely would be in the top 10. It's just she wouldn't be able to beat any of the top 5 caliber fighters that are out there. But that's not saying,
like, who's the top 5 at bantamweight right now? Do you know?
I got it right here. Give me 1 second. For the men's or for the women's? Women's?
For the women's.
While you pull that up, Lindell, the only people that I think that she can't beat are Durandamy, Nunes, and that weight class.
She could beat Durandamy though. Like, Durandamy had 0 ground game versus Nunes.
True.
She couldn't stop any takedowns.
So I can't say that name, but she's 1. Holly Holm is 2. Aspen Ladd is 3. Juliana Pena is 4, and Raquel Pennington is 5.
So y'all gonna tell me she can't beat Raquel Pennington and Julia Pena for sure? At least those 2 for sure.
That's all I'm saying. He's lost the job with the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, but when Ronda came to the UFC from Strikeforce,
she beat everybody.
Yeah, but striking amongst the women, even Cyborg wasn't really like an elite striker. She was just rough and brutal. Like, Gina Carano is probably one of the more technical strikers and technical strikers they had. And so Ronda came up during that time. Her striking didn't have to be that good. You fast forward now a number of years, and these girls are dropping bombs, punches, and
100%. Yeah.
Rose is the epitome of like striking for that class.
Yeah,
I think Rose and probably Valentina are like the like.
JJ too, but like Rose
Yeah.
last night, she's like,
No, her fucking everything. It was perfect. Like I was watching it with my friend Amon Cosme. He just turned pro and won his pro debut, and he signed with First Round Management. He came over and watched the fights with me, and he was just in awe. Like, and he's like I could just watch her feet like just move all day. Like it was beautiful.
Think about it. That was Trevor Whitman and Pat Barry.
Yeah, I loved hearing Pat Barry in the corner too. He was killing it. I just loved
he has
it.
a chance to extend his career through his fiance.
Yeah.
I will say Pat Barry is very talented, but he was on the end of a lot of bad knockouts.
Oh, 100%. Well, again, this is a guy who refused to cut down too, though. Like, you want to fight at heavyweight, that's cool, but you're a small guy.
And I mean, hey, he wasn't scared to fight anybody, so.
Oh, right. You'll never say he was afraid to fight anybody, for sure.
Unfortunately, cost him sometimes, but hey, fuck.
I mean, sure, yeah.
I think it's really led on. But speaking on Rose and Pat Barry and that, and in that whole training camp, let's move on to the next fight, which was Rose Namajunas versus Julia Andrade for 2. Jessica Andrade. Julia. I just want to give her Julia. You know, she looks like a Julia, so I'm just kidding. Jessica. What did we think? Did we agree with the decision? Did we feel Rose?
Oh, Rose absolutely
dominated. For sure. 2-1. Obviously, she lost the third. If there was a 4th and 5th, who knows how that would have went? I could have seen her getting finished there. She was bleeding bad. Like once Andrade started putting the hands on her. Like that. I know, but like I ain't never seen Rose look like that after a fight.
Well, she see her left eye. So yeah, Jessica. So Jessica's head movement, she kept doing the bob and weave, and I almost feel like this is her game plan.
I hated it. I hated it.
I didn't watch the post-fight press conference, so I don't know what she said her game plan was. The game plan seemed like she was just going to try to kind of wear Rose out. She knew Rose was going to piece her up like she did the first fight. Yeah. And she knew if she couldn't get inside, she's like, I'm going to keep bobbing and weaving. And then after a while, those bob and weaves are going to turn into these wild hooks and crosses that she started catching Rose with. Like, it was almost like Rose, like when Rose got hit with those first 2, she's like, okay, I'm good. And then by the end of that second round, like, I was like, Rose she might be in trouble going into the third. And sure enough, it seemed like whenever good.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say all the footwork, you know, like it is nice to watch, but you also gotta have that gas tank. She ain't fighting a long time. You moving all the time, dodging in and out. As you slow down, I can start clipping you more. Like the shit I was doing before, you might have been able to read, and then like now, as you get more tired, she starts landing more.
Well, and I think we can agree Andrade is like the stronger fighter. She's
for sure, without a doubt. Yeah, she's definitely the hardest hitter.
All it takes is for her to just catch you a couple times.
She's like a baby Brazilian Tyson. That's what she looks like.
She's girl John Lineker.
Like a mini Wanderlei.
She's got like the Aldo back, bro. It's just like defined. It's like, damn, girl.
Yeah.
Fuck with her, man.
If she was a little bit taller and she had more of a reach, she would be. I think she would have easier time with Rose, but she would be a little bit more dangerous. But I think her height,
for sure, yeah,
and the fact that people can range her, because
she set up her strikes with the jab, or mixed it up more. I feel like there was a spam of hooks and overhands.
Right, no jabs. She's pulling the whole Cody Garbrandt.
Straight pushes came in first. Yeah, Cody Garbrandt, John Lineker. That's the most accurate.
What's a jab? I just throw hooks. Spam them.
And Bisping mentioned this in multiple fights. Like the jab is like a lost art right now. I mean, for some reason, like it opens the door to so many opportunities. But
100%.
What was really cool about those 2 girl fights is that one, Jenny loves watching like female fights, like the women's fights, and she had a friend over, and she was spending time with her friend. They were watching like some type of marriage reality TV show on the couch. But I was like, I came out and like, you know, Paige is up. She's like, okay. And they like brought her friend, and that was like her friend's first time watching MMA armbar. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Jenny prefaced it with like, if it's a good fight, and soon, you know. So that happened, and then I came back out. They sat back down like 20 minutes later or whatever. I was like, hey, Rose is up. So they were excited. They both came in, and then they just watched the whole thing. I got to like break down like this is how he went around. Look at Rose's striking. It was just beautiful. And we talked about the back of Rose. She literally hasn't fought since the first time they fought.
if there was a card to kind of introduce casual people, the people who've never really seen MMA before, this is definitely a good card for anybody.
Still the main event.
First four fights.
First four fight, right?
Prelims and first four fights.
Right.
But the only reason people tuned in is the main event, which is the crazy part. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Where do we think? So does Rose get Wei Li right away? Do we think, or
Weili kind of called her out. She said, "Let's go" after the fight in Rose's comments. So maybe that's next,
right?
Huh?
It could be how you read it, like "Let's go" or "Let's go."
Well, she like congratulated her first. I mean, that's true. But right now it seems like it's Zhang and Rose, and then you could do Andrade and Joanna rematch maybe.
Joanna looked good against Zhang Weili.
She did. She did 100%. But like, I don't know, like, you know, how they pair those off.
I mean, I could see them doing that just for namesake to be like, hey, we need to make another.
Suarez, Tatiana Suarez, ranked number 3 right now. She needs a fight. So
Suarez is good.
Now, if they did do both those fights, they could do it on the same card the way that they did the Sugar Sean card.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Cody Garbrandt, and you filled up like this tournament feel
for the weight class.
Card. Yeah, for the weight class. Yeah.
So Lindo, since you haven't been with us since we talked about those fights, how did you like that card in itself, kind of setting up the bantamweight division, kind of knowing, you know, essentially whoever won between Corey and Al was going to fight most likely the winner of Peter Yan and Aldo?
I think it's something that the UFC needs to do more because there's so many fighters. And for a while, I remember people were starting to complain because they were throwing so many cards out, you know, when they were with Fox. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know who this guy is, and you have to do research on some of these people. Well, now you start having fighters, you know, more recognizable faces and stories to tell. It just makes it more exciting. It's going to build more fan attraction. These fighters are going to get, you know, bigger followings, more money for them, which they all deserve. I like the way it's set up. Like, I can't wait to, like, with the women's division, I can't wait to see what happens next with Rose. Never mind that she's one of my favorite fighters, but I can't wait to see what happens with her or Jessica or Zhang Weili or Joanna, even though she had that big hematoma. Good God. But I can't wait to see what happens now. And you know, 3 years ago, that wasn't necessarily the case with MMA. It was like, oh, there's another UFC fight card. And unless you're a UFC fan, I don't really think there was a lot of excitement like it is now.
Gotcha. I agree. So speaking of going back to Rose, do we think she can win a fight against Weili the way she kind of got pieced up against Andrade here?
Weili's tough.
Because I feel like Weili's got the strength of Andrade.
If she faded against Andrade, if she fades against Zhang will finish her.
Quick.
No doubt. Like,
so we forget that Rose went 5 with JJ too. And then when I don't know how many fights Weili had in championship rounds, but I know that Joanna's had like five or 6. So the experience probably could have exhausted Weili more than Rose could have. And then, you know, maybe given the circumstances, I mean, I think Rose has the cardio to go 5, and I'm happy she's got her mental right because I feel like she's special for the division. I'd like to see her continue to go. For sure, she's relatively young, right?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know too much about Weili besides her devastating, you know, finish of Andrade and then her war with JJ. That's all I know. I don't know too much about her. She has a good record.
To me, they're similar. Obviously, Zhang has more power. The difference in that fight would be, like you said, with her endurance. Rose is just sharper than Zhang Weili is, and I think even though Zhang is super tough, I think if Rose can manage to stay sharp for, you know, all 5 rounds, that she could take it by decision. I don't know if she can knock her out, but I definitely think she could, you know, if it goes 5, take it by decision.
I think Weili wins that fight, but I think if Rose does, it's by a 5-round decision. I think the issue will be if Weili can keep tagging her with those power shots, similar to Andrade, which it won't be because she's gonna set hers up with her jab, with a nice stiff jab and a straight down the middle.
Zhang reminds me of a good fusion of Andrade and like Joanna, where she'll throw power, but she's also got the volume for it. She's got the cardio for it, so she can keep throwing it if she needs to. Kind of style.
But I think we can agree though. It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
Without a doubt.
It's gonna be that thing needs to be on a proper card. They better not fucking bullshit that fight. Put it on a proper card because people need to watch that.
No, I hope it's not like fucking in China or something. No offense.
I mean, no, bro. I don't know when's gonna be the next time the UFC goes to China.
Obviously, I just mean in general though. Like
but just for real though, like with everything that's happened with this pandemic, I think it's gonna be rough to take a card out there until things really settle down. Sure. Honestly, and not only that, but they got Fight Island, so they ain't going nowhere.
They don't need to travel anywhere.
Like
we gotta think that going into. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Going into that third round, I thought it was 2-zip Rose easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to point out to Jenny and Blanca, I was like, I mean, depending how it goes here, you're going to see how either Rose is going to come out conservative, which she did, and then then Jessica's corners, in between corners, they're going to be like, or in between rounds, they're going to be like, you're going to have to come out and get a finish, which put a different pace, which looked like the same pace, but like even more exerting pace in the third round. So that might have been what really pushed Rose's cardio over the edge. Because like she's hunting, you're constantly backpedaling, and then you're getting clipped with some of these big shots. Because I was worried. I was like, oh God, it can go bad.
I think she would have been okay if she didn't get hit with some of those shots. I think some of those shots really drained that gas tank because she looked fine in the first, when she first came out of the third. I thought she looked fairly fresh.
I was surprised that she looked so good considering how long she's been off.
Yeah. I mean, I think with Pat Barry, luckily by her side and him, being obviously her confidant, her husband, I think really helps. I heard, I think it was on Josh Thompson and John McCarthy's podcast. They were talking about going back to Paige Van Zandt, how they're training. They don't know what kind of training camp she might have had, considering it's her husband that's helping her train too. What kind of dynamic that is of your husband maybe trying to show you something and maybe you not being as receptive because it's your husband, where I feel like Pat Barry and Rose have this really great, obviously,
they've been together for too long.
But the coaching relationship that they have, she really respects him as a coach. I mean, he's really done some innovative stuff that's helped her get better and be more technical. And so it just goes to show, man, just kind of two different aspects of a couple that train together. One, granted, Paige Van Zandt's husband is still actually fighting and active, which could also be another thing where he's focusing on himself a little bit as well, where Pat Barry is not worried about that. He's worried about just Rose. So it's good to see kind of that dynamic with them and her be successful because she's still killing the game right now. So, but moving on, leading to the first championship bout, Petr Yan, Jose Aldo. I think we all wanted Jose to win. I believe we all thought Jose.
I wanted him to win.
I believe I did. But
I wanted him to win. I knew it was a tough task.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And I mean, but granted, we'd only seen a limited kind of viewing of Petr Yan's kind of potential.
And like this is
Uriah Faber was.
This is the best person he's fought so far.
For sure.
Far, right?
For sure. And prior to this, it was Uriah Faber. That was
Jimmy Rivera, I'd say.
But he's catching Jimmy Rivera like on like that bottom slope though. Like
I guess accolade wise, it was Uriah Faber.
You're right.
And then that was an old Uriah Faber.
Yeah. So
it was hard for me to figure out where to put him at coming into the fight personally.
Yeah.
And Aldo did fucking fantastic as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I know he lost, but
I wish
getting beat to death is not his fault as much as.
I think I wished he would have used his leg kicks more in the beginning. I felt like he wasn't. He started to more, but I thought he was going to utilize the leg kicks better.
I felt like he used them as much as he could.
He did eventually. He did. He got to, but in the beginning he wasn't going. He wasn't. He was trying to just strike with them.
It was just really, honestly, like for me, it was all downhill after that. After I assume his rib got broke, I was just like, it's only a matter of time. Like he was putting up a good poker face for a long time, but I was like, man, if he can like really get back to him to that rib, like
that elbow did not raised
Was that
past
really a
rib
thing?
after that.
All those-
Oh yeah, as far as I understood it, he broke his rib because he was standing over him, and I think he ground and pounded him like straight
hit him
here,
straight.
and then he just curled up immediately. He curled
Yep.
immediately,
Yeah.
and they honestly they could have stopped it there if they wanted to, like because he started taking a few shots there, and he was curling up the best he could, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like another ref might have stopped it. But he looked even better when he came back after that, and he was doing good. And you know, obviously, until he wasn't.
I thought it was 2-2 going into the fifth. I thought that Aldo had 2 and 3. Aldo looked good. He was
I thought
yeah,
it was minimum at minimum it was 2-2 going into the fifth for sure.
That's what I had it.
I thought he was landing inside outside leg kicks on both legs. I'm like, okay, this is the Aldo of late.
He like when he leg kicked him and then Jan's leg had like shot into the air at one point. I was like, oh shit, Aldo's back, boy, let's go. Like and again he did as the best that I thought he could have possibly looked without actually winning.
True.
And to your point, Tony, I didn't realize how long Aldo's been fighting. Like they showed some of those older WC clips, and I was like,
yeah,
wow,
that's when that's who got me into MMA. I started watching Aldo on WC.
Well, wasn't he the first WC champ too?
Yes.
No.
Featherweight champ?
Well,
the first
yeah.
Coming over, they inaugurated him as the featherweight champion.
Did he take it from
He beat Mike Brown for it, I believe.
In WC?
Mike Brown had beat Faber for it. He beat Mike Brown for it, and then that other fight he fought Faber in the title defense.
Oh, you're right.
He fucked Faber up.
Wait, this was all in the WC, right?
That's all WC.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He was the first ever. He was the first ever UFC featherweight champ.
Right.
That's what it was. Okay.
But to see as long as he's been in the game, and you know, ever since the Conor fight, it's just kind of been a roller coaster for him. But I thought he looked great.
He looked better than me, my opinion, better than he's looking like. Obviously, you have boxer Aldo who's been fighting here lately. This was the first time that we got a little bit of Aldo old mixed with Aldo new, and I was perfectly I was happy with it.
He looked good too. I felt like that fight with Marlon Moraes when he weighed in, he looked like skin and bones. But then
he looked good at the weigh-in. He looked good in the octagon.
Good.
What do you guys think? Do you think that weight cut took a toll on his midsection?
No, I think he broke his.
No, I think Peter Yan is just fucking disgustingly strong. And
I'll say this: Peter Yan's ground and pound, that shit.
Brutal.
Like it was like, and like I had my like sound bar and stuff turned up, and that shit was slapping so fucking hard. I was like, God, jeez, like yes. I was like, he's really, and I respect it. Like he's trying to get him the fuck out of there, but you don't want him to go. Like,
listen, you don't want.
He's not. I had so much respect, and it sucks because like I came out of this fight with probably more respect for Aldo than I did Yan, which isn't right because obviously Yan won, but like the shots that Yan was hitting him with, and I was like, damn, I'm surprised you're not tapping the strikes. And everybody was like, he's not gonna fucking tap the strikes. Like I was like, but he's hitting them so fucking hard. Like,
and he was
it was brutal.
And he was under such control. Like some people when somebody's wounded and on top, they're just wild trying to hit him with whatever. He was so calculated, controlled. You know, he just knew exactly, especially once he knew Jose was hurt to his ribs, he knew exactly when and where to hit him. He just took him down.
I don't know where I had heard it from, but which one of the podcasts, but someone had talked about that apparently they had trained together a while back.
Yeah, they did.
And Jose kind of was getting the better of him, but they were saying, you know, this guy literally came right from the plane, like from the airport.
It's like a young. That's also like a younger Peter Yan when Aldo probably was the monster.
And when he was at featherweight, so imagine.
Right. So obviously, even if he did, like that's not a proper.
No. But the reason why I mentioned that is because it's like, I could imagine that he kind of, with that, used some of that to fuel some of his training, knowing some of his movement, knowing kind of, because he fought very similar to the Jose Aldo of old, you know, and so I felt like it was pretty cool to kind of see Peter Yan knowing that, to kind of see him being able to kind of best a legend, essentially, who he trained with, who he was lucky enough to train with. And now he's the guy you got to go through if you you know, at 135 if you're
and he can box and he can wrestle. He's got good top game.
Yan and Aldo trained together at one point.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, he flew in to train with them. I don't know for what specific fight or whatever the case is, but yeah. But hopefully that was the kind of maybe the game changer for him. That was like, all right, I need to step up even more if I need to.
Do we think obviously Jan defeated Aldo via TKO in the fifth round, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do we think Aldo fights again?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just curious in your
You know,
thoughts
no,
on it.
but you're
Title
right.
aspirations are gone though.
Well, it's funny because he had mentioned, remember, that he wasn't gonna fight anywhere that wasn't Brazil, but then obviously it's happening. It's
world title fight will do that to you.
things have changed, yeah, and I mean, he just looks so damn good. I don't see
He did.
why Dana White isn't gonna be like, let's keep on getting him some good fights. And I mean, and you know, I think he has what it takes to beat Peter Yan. It's just
For sure. Like he showed it. Yeah.
he got beat. He got beat. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
you can have a close fight and lose and still, have confidence from that
who
as well at the same
do
time.
you think? So obviously Aljamain's gonna fight Peter now.
Right. Now, yeah.
Sterling.
Yeah.
Hey,
will fight him.
You could do Cody, Aldo.
That's
I
where
watched that.
Go.
I watched that. You could do Aldo Cruz. I watched that.
Yes.
Watch that.
I would love to see that. That's a big fight.
That's a huge fight.
For true fans, that's
yeah. That's a legend. Man, could you imagine the highlight reels? Like it'd be amazing. Yeah, like,
what do you think?
2010.
What do you think Cody goes?
Beautiful.
What do you think Cody Sandhagen fights next, possibly?
Corey Sandhagen?
Corey, sorry.
Could fight
Cody?
These names today.
Stacked
okay. It is. I mean, Corey Sandhagen could fight Aldo. Like it's you could really mix and match anybody in there.
Right?
You could do anybody. You could do anybody.
There's just too many.
Yeah, there's so many. I can't even like.
Now, speaking of Sterling and Jan, who do we think wins that fight?
I personally have Jan.
He just looked
Sterling's very good though.
I had some other friends that were very on Sterling, and they said that Sterling's grappling would be the factor. Because if Sterling can get him down, Sterling's a wizard on the ground, and he's a spider. He's all over you.
Yeah.
But I personally have Jan. Personally,
I have Jan too. He looked so. He just looked
composed.
Crisp. He looked composed. Crisp.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to like Jose could phase him. Like even when Jose won 3 and 4, it just seemed like it was Jan's night.
Russian mentality, bro. You know I'm breaking.
Yeah. He wants it. He seems like he wants any and everybody that they put in front of him. Like he wants it.
Yeah.
I would think Jan too.
Yeah. One thing I was telling people about Jan before, like as I was watching all those highlights, preparing to watch him fight Aldo, he doesn't gas really. He doesn't overextend. Like he throws everything with intention, but he doesn't go wild. And I was like, the one thing that worried me is like Aldo throws a lot, and if he gasses, like Jan's always going to be there. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. Like he's not going to throw so much to where he gasses himself out, and he has good defense, so he's not going to get hurt too bad. And I was like, man, if Jan's there after Aldo, like does Aldo things, like that's going to be trouble. Because if you start to fade, like Jan's going to be like, all right, now I can pick it up because I haven't wasted any energy trying to kill you or anything.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jan takes it. Honestly, I think Jan might knock him out.
If Sterling can't get him down, for sure I could see it. But I don't want to hate on Sterling either. I mean, his hands were phenomenal versus I believe it was Pedro Munoz. Before Corey Sandhagen, when he fought Pedro Munoz.
Munoz is good.
And Munoz was like right there too, like for a while.
I'm a Sterling fan. I would like for him to win. I think I like I like Matt Serra. I like that whole gym. I think it'd be a big win for them. He's got some great training partners. It's just Jan, I feel like, is just so damn strong. But I also forget, and I'm curious to see what the reach would be on both of them, because I know Sterling has a pretty damn long reach.
He's big for the weight class.
I'll admit I haven't seen a lot of his fights. I just pulled up some of his highlights right now just to get a feel for him. He's explosive.
He's fast.
Who are we talking about?
Sterling. He's
fast.
Good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu.
So, and to me, in MMA, like the great equalizer is like just explosion. Like, who would have thought that Tyron would have knocked out Robbie like that? But he's explosive, and that I don't know. I can't wait for that fight. That'd be something.
It's definitely going to be a good fight for sure. It's not an easy fight for either guy.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Well, moving on from one championship fight to the next, with a little bit of controversy, the Holloway Volkanovski 2. What do we think? Do we agree with the judges? Did we, me personally, I had Holloway winning. I kind of felt like I could see why maybe someone could give it to Volkanovski. I felt like some of the shots that Volkanovski
What rounds? What rounds?
Just those last rounds.
No. What rounds for
4 and 5?
Holloway?
4 and 5.
No. What rounds did Holloway win? You thought he won 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah. And honestly, I felt like he could have. I felt like 4 was kind of up in the air, but I thought Volkanovski was doing more damage when he was connecting.
Right.
When he was hitting him, and I felt like that's why they gave him the rounds, even though I don't think they say the takedowns were a thing, that he didn't do anything with those takedowns. So if that's the case,
definitely helped. But I do think the power differential in strikes after the first 2 rounds was leaning Volkanovski, and that might have been like one of the deciding factors. And again, Volkanovski doesn't really get outstruck either. Like if you hit him, he hits you back. So like it's definitely always going to be like a 1-for-1 type of scenario.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, I think Max outstruck him the first 3 rounds though, right?
Yeah, badly.
Yeah, and then the last 2
Well, I think after he got rocked, like you got to come back from that, obviously.
Yeah.
Try to pull up the stats real quick on the strike stats, because I remember when they showed going into the 5th round, the strike output, and I was like, oh well, Max pieced him up quite a bit in the first 2 rounds, and I think round 3 was a little bit closer, and then
round 3 was close.
Round 3 was by like 4
strikes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think he got robbed. I thought if you go back and watch that fight, I thought it was clear as day that he won the first 2 rounds, obviously. And then because Volkanovski didn't do anything with that takedown in the 3rd, I would have given that to Max. And then you give Volkanovski 4 and 5.
But judges don't know that. Judges, like I've always looked at takedowns as like how to steal a round. You get 1 or 2.
That's why they shoot for him. That's why they shoot for him late.
Mm-hmm. But you have to be able to do something with those takedowns, which he didn't do anything. That's why Max
not in a judge's eyes though. If you get the takedown,
no, I get it.
Not checked off for a takedown.
I thought for me what was a bigger factor, which is why I was like, I could see why Volkanovski won, was just the damage that Volkanovski was doing when he was connected.
Yeah. It's the same thing that happened in the first fight, except in a flip-flop kind of order.
Yeah.
Like where he picked up later. The first fight he picked up early. The second fight he picked up later. But the damage differential, the power.
But and granted, I thought like the leg kicks, as much as he was beating up that leg, didn't really affect Holloway.
It didn't hold any. Yeah, it didn't hold any.
Didn't affect him whatsoever.
But
no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm waiting for you.
So I pulled up the strike stat. Here's something surprising, because I didn't see the total numbers. I think I looked away from the screen because I just thought Max had won. Volkanovski outlanded him by 28 shots.
Yeah, he was fighting like a champion in the sense of John Jones when he fought Alexander Gustafsson in the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Gustafsson was doing a lot of damage to him, but what John Jones was doing, picking him, throwing like just little shots in there to make sure that the numbers were still good in his favor. If you have a judge watching and you're over here tallying strikes landed, because obviously we don't tally damage.
Yeah.
And if I outstruck you on paper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought, me personally, in the initial, I thought Max could have won it. I did not think it was a robbery. I thought it was a close fight. I could definitely see how they gave it to Volkanovski. He was pressuring and doing more damage in the later rounds. Had a couple of takedowns regardless if they were irrelevant takedowns. He did get them, and even got that one that they both fought for at the very end, and they got that one as well in the 5th round. I could see how he edged it. I don't understand, again, just my opinion, I don't see where people get the robbery thing from. Like, it was clearly a close fight. Like, Max just dominated the first 2 rounds.
Maybe the robbery coming from I wanted to see a 3rd fight, and I wanted to see 1-1.
Right.
3rd fight. So maybe that's where robbery comes from in my mind. I've
seen worse robberies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely in boxing too. My goodness.
Mikey, what'd you think?
I thought easy Max first 2 rounds, and he was dropping them. I was just like, geez, wow. Because the big improvements I saw in Max Holloway, which I love Max, but I didn't think that he was going to be able to make those adjustments
Agreed.
in 6-7 months.
With no training, with like Zoom training.
Yeah, with COVID and everything.
Zoom training? I don't believe that shit though. I don't
He's
think.
I
definitely
believe it. He's not trying to bring COVID back to his family. He ain't risking it.
Good point. And I kind of get that. But at the same token, he was doing spinning kicks, head kicks. His feints and fakes were perfect.
Oh, those spinning kicks were
He hasn't thrown
fast.
spinning kicks since he fought, I think, Seaver or maybe Oliveira. That used to be his specialty. He had started throwing them a lot, and then he just quit throwing them altogether. And I missed him. And then he threw that shit, and I was like, "Oh shit!" First Aldo's bringing back leg kicks, fucking Holloway brought back. I was like, "It's fucking like retro night out here."
Mini blast from the past, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that he had the first 2 rounds. The way I saw it, first off, Volkanovski, if I remember correctly, didn't really wrestle in the first fight. At least not as much.
No, he just struck and leg kicked him in the first fight.
So it looked to me that it was a little bit of frustration. He was trying to mix it up, keep Max guessing and get his offense going, or just try to score points, which people will do. So I just thought that it was a switch up on his part. But I don't think he took the last 3 rounds. I don't think.
My thing is, it felt like everything Max did in those first 2 rounds, he couldn't do after those first 2 rounds. All the success he had was gone after the first 2 rounds. Like, Volkanovski started making the right adjustments to not get hit with the things he was getting hit with. Again, to me, it was just a close fight. Like, that's why.
No, I agree. And I think the power also for that Max had in those first 2 rounds weren't there in those later rounds. And he was still hitting them with those volume punches.
But that wasn't doing any.
He said it himself. He's like, the reason why I'm a volume guy is because I don't have the power that these guys have.
John Jones. Yeah.
And so I got to hit you with a shit ton of shots, man.
Yeah. And, or like a Ioane and Jacek. Ioane and Jacek isn't out here one punch knock people out. Fine, I'll hit you 100 times. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
But I feel like it was a good fight though overall. I like the fight.
100%. I hate that there's so much hate out there after it, and not that it's not deserved or is deserved or whatever. That's just all opinions. But it was just a good fight. Like
I will say I watched the Weighing In podcast with Big John, and he was one of the guys that actually created the rules for the UFC and he believes it was a huge robbery, that these judges just don't know what it is. Yeah. I didn't agree, but the guy knows.
I've seen people. Yeah, I've seen people were messaging me on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, that was that was a bull. And I joke about it as well. But like at the same time, as I was watching it, again, I've seen way worse. I've seen way worse decisions.
I felt the argument could definitely be made. If the argument can be made why this guy won, then it wasn't a robbery.
Right.
So
perfect.
I just think the drops that was the biggest part. Like, because Max dropped him in the beginning, it's like Romero Whitaker, too. Whitaker dropped and obviously it was not the same. Like Romero was close to killing Whitaker. Like but obviously Max did drop him. But you get those drops but like even Romero didn't get the same kind of pushback on his side, and he almost killed Whitaker. And like I know Max got the drops, but it wasn't like he still came back like he wasn't even dropped in those 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, and was like ready to fight. So
he also gave Whitaker a round. That first round, he literally just stood there.
Yeah, no, he's waiting, plotting on you, waiting to see.
With that Cuban missile, bro.
Yeah. No. He just that's the thing though. But that's how Yoel fights everybody. He waits until he sees the thing that he wants, and then that's when he strikes.
Well, speaking of explosiveness, that's the motherfucker that's got just nuclear power coming after you, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, where does Max go from here? Who do you think he fights? Do you think a T-City rematch if the Korean Zombie falls through?
I know Korean Zombie wants Volkanovski.
Yes.
Obviously.
It's like, bro,
He's
fight
coming
T
off
City.
of
You gotta fight this man too. He's like, supposedly he's saying he can't leave Korea.
Do we know who the top like 5 contenders are?
I think it's
I'm on
Qatar.
it.
Okay.
It's gotta be Max still. It'll be Max still.
Max
Korean
Ortega, Korean Zombie,
Zombie.
Rodriguez. Maybe Zabit's up there too.
Yair and Zabit.
Zabit, yep.
So you could do Max Yair, Max Zabit. I'd
Yair's
like
gonna get
either
a
one of
title shot,
those.
no matter what. Yair's gonna get a title shot one day. He's
I don't know. I
super
feel like Korean Zombie, though that does sound stupid coming out of my mouth. For some reason, I feel like Korean Zombie's ahead of him, even though I know he finished Korean Zombie.
shouldn't. He shouldn't do that.
I know.
Never.
Right.
That blew my mind.
He hasn't fought. He fought Stevens twice after that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think the eye poke stopped in the first one, then he finished even in the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 is Max, Zabit, Ortega, Korean Zombie, and then Yair.
Literally.
So
Max gets one of them.
Max, Zabit, I guess. Yair, like Yair, Volkanovski. Right?
You don't think Zabit? Who's ranked higher? Zabit, no?
Zabit's number 2.
So
There's no way. You think they do Zabit Volkanovski right now, though?
Yeah, they have to. If you're going down the line, you gotta give it to number 2, no?
I guess.
I mean, I would say give it to Zabit, right? Give Holloway.
Then Aldo Yair then.
Give Holloway Yair.
I mean,
to allow him to kind of move up. Korean Zombie apparently isn't going to be leaving Korea anytime soon, so they're not letting him.
I know that he has the contract for Ortega, but obviously he's not going to sign it if he can't leave.
Exactly. So, and then at that point, it's T. I mean, they can do.
What?
I'm sorry.
Mike has said something.
Yeah, no, Mikey, what were you saying?
Really happen. I'm sorry, but if someone came up and slapped Tony, I'd fight that guy right away. There's no way.
I would ask questions. I'd be like, yo, what did he do?
No questions. Somebody walk up on my dude, slap him, we jumping him.
I'd put the beat down on whoever did it, and then I'd ask Tony, like, so what happened after?
What happened, bro?
We talked after.
I did say, go fuck your mother. I told him. That's the point. That's the size of the point.
You can't be doing that, bro. You know,
pull my dick out, slap that on his face. That's the point, bro. Right? You just can't slap me, okay? Yeah, I mean, I think T-City, I could kind of see, yeah, I guess maybe T-City Yair, Zabit, Volkanovski, and then Max takes a break for a while, considering he just came off this fight.
Dude,
I would like to see Max.
I don't know. I feel like Max is going to be ready to go soon.
I definitely think he can go.
I just feel like he's going to want to get right back in there because he's going to, especially with the kickback that he got from everybody else, he's going to feel like he's the champion anyway. So he's going to be ready to go immediately, I feel like.
I feel. I'm wondering who this year, though, you think? Because most likely he's going to take, 90? Maybe 60 days?
Yeah, obviously the heel.
So at that time, you could set up maybe a Yair.
I could see Yair Max. Oh,
yeah. Have they fought yet?
Who?
Max and Yair?
No.
I want to see that. You think so?
No, I can. Man, no.
Really?
If Alex Volkanovski can leg kick Max, Yair will fuck Max leg up.
I'm scared of Yair's leg kicks. I'm scared of the 250-pound rugby player who trains in Thailand.
But he's like a whole 5'2".
He wasn't 250, right? He's 250. He said it on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's like, I think because of my accent, people think that it's 250.
He's also
got that accent down.
Extremely bored.
Right?
Wait,
which one?
Nice guy, but Volkanovski's got to put some fans in the seat somehow.
He's pretty funny, bro. You don't think he's funny?
I just think for the most part, he's a nice guy. He's not a trash talker. He's not braggadocious. He's not out here being like super cocky or anything.
You can always get what you want, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not his style. He's like, all right, I'll fight whoever.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. This is the most I've ever seen him be mad was because Max thought that he only won off of the leg kicks or whatever in the first fight. That was the most angry. I can't believe he thinks he won, but I'm gonna go out there. Now he was talking his good shit. He's like, I'm gonna go out there and finish him, and then we ain't got to worry about no judges and all this other shit. And then we saw what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting what happens from here. I mean, they got
For
some
sure,
great
for
guys.
sure. So many, again, just like with the bantamweights and
Bantamweight.
so forth and so on. Like, there's so many interesting matchups.
Well,
Those are two stacked divisions. That's crazy.
moving on to another pretty stacked division, but unfortunately, this fight maybe wasn't as exciting as people were hoping. To the main event, Senor Jorge Gamebred Masvidal versus Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman. What
More like a Nigerian lullaby. I was ready to go to sleep. I'm like, what, really?
Your boy.
What did you expect?
I mean, that's my thing.
We all knew that it was going to go like that.
There was no
Yeah,
way
we
he
do.
was going to stand this.
Unless there was a flash knockout.
I just thought, Kobe got Kamar worked up to the point where Kamar actually traded with him.
That's one guy. That's one guy.
I know, but I just thought that he was gonna try to I just thought he was gonna actually fight the man.
All his other fights have looked exactly like that.
Well,
he grinds people out.
Kamaru's smart. He's not dumb.
Yeah, for sure. No.
Kobe doesn't have the hands that Masvidal has.
For sure. No, like
puncher.
Masvidal was there all five, ready to blitz him and kill him. Whether or not he was able to land it or not,
My biggest takeaway, if Masvidal has a full 6-week camp, I think he can beat Usman. Because
same exact result. I'm sorry, boys. Same exact result.
I don't think so.
Styles make match. Styles makes the match.
I agree. I think, though, his takedown defense was really good. He didn't take any damage whatsoever. Yeah. The 2 cuts on his face were from headbutts.
Yeah, him rubbing his head all on him.
Yep.
Shit.
I mean, for me, I think Masvidal with the full training camp, he was training recently with Bo Nickel and a couple of really great wrestlers as well. I think with a full training camp, he can at least give himself more of an opportunity to keep it standing. Because with this, he didn't have the gas tank to do it. He just did not have any sort of gas tank to keep himself off the fence. And Kamaru knew that. And so he just said, I'm going to push you on the fence. I'm going to keep you here. You're going to carry all my weight. I'm going to rain on your body. I'm going to keep you in the body, which didn't really seem to affect him. But it's points for him.
But it could have been obviously an addition to what slowed him down.
Yeah, that's what drained the gas tank. Those you could hear those shots too. And that was probably the only thing I'm like, all right, Kamaru, he's surgically breaking him down the best he can with the way that Kamaru fights. But I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know if the result would have been different as far as Kamaru winning, but I definitely think we get somewhat of a different fight with a 6-week fight camp. But this is the money that Jorge was probably requesting for and negotiating for. And they probably weren't going to give him this amount of money if he's like, no, I'm fighting for a title. I want 6 weeks. They probably weren't going to give him the same amount of money in 6 weeks. So
probably not. I mean, what's crazy now is, Dana, whether he knows it or not, kind of fucked up letting the press know and letting obviously Masvidal know in doing so that they had the best pay-per-view numbers, even better than Conor and Khabib. Yep. On top of the fact that they sold more merchandise in this one fight than they have in all of 2019.
Yeah, and that's
him also the new benchmark now.
He's close to Conor. He's creeping up
without.
And that's been his whole point, because he's been saying, we're pulling in all this money. If I'm fighting for a title, I shouldn't be getting paid less than my previous 2 fights for a fake title. Like, that makes no sense. And I agree. It's like if you're in a championship situation where whatever sport, there's a bonus. Like, there should be extra incentives outside of just this title. And so Dana, I think Dana did mess up. But
I mean,
we'll see.
They rectified it. Seems like he, from what Jorge was saying, he didn't get the guaranteed money he wanted. So, to show up and then to fight, but he got the pay-per-view money he wanted.
And 530,000 with pay-per-view money on top ain't too shabby.
Ain't bad. It ain't bad.
I wouldn't want to get hit.
Off 6 days.
Now, would you want to go 25 minutes to Kamaru Usman to get that 100%.
money? 100%.
I mean,
without a doubt. If he's just gonna lay on me and stomp my foot, fuck it.
Bro, I was getting to know with those styles. I was like, come on, bro. Like,
I mean, it was just old school. He went
super.
old school with
It was
it.
Randy Couture.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy Couture.
John Jones.
Yep.
You looking like me out here.
I was speaking with Alon about maybe like the restructuring of how scoring's done, because there's so much emphasis on somebody getting a takedown, but there's no points or any type of emphasis on takedown defense.
Nope.
Like,
Right.
if I can best you at your game, which is you taking me down, I get no credit for that at all.
No, you're right. Oh no, Mike.
Mike said he had to go.
Oh,
So Alana suggested, like, well, maybe, you know, like for every 3 or 4 takedowns you stuff, maybe that's the equivalent of like a take. I don't know. I wish.
You're right.
Or
His stuff
restructure it.
of them too, man. I mean, at that point, I think by the 3rd or 4th, it was like he had stuff like 7 out of 8, you know, takedowns at that point. And I just think eventually, you know, it wore on him. But you're right. I mean, they're still using a boxing judging system. Like, they're not a CompuBox system. Like, it's crazy that with the sport and how long, granted, it's still very new, but you would think that someone would have been like, hey man, we need to revolutionize this a little bit. And I spoke with Tony and Mikey on one of the other podcasts before, that I've loved how Joe Rogan kind of broke it down when it came to just getting the proper judges. There's so many martial artists, so many coaches that are out there that I guarantee are more than willing to sign up to be a judge, and have 5, 6, 8 of them, in which if majority of 8 people would say, hey, this guy won the fight, guess what? Most likely, especially if they're all experts, that guy fucking won the fight, man. You got guys that are black belt in jiu-jitsu, you know, world-renowned wrestlers, strike boxers, whatever the case is, and say, hey, man, this guy knows what some of these transitions are when it comes to being on the ground, grappling, wrestling, and doing, you know, these guys don't have a fucking clue. Half of these guys that judge, majority of them have never even been in a fight. Like, they have no fucking clue what's going on. They don't know what it's like to be in there. And that's something that needs to change. Unfortunately, it's seated with the commissions. And just like, you know, if you want to go to political, like our government, it's hard to get some of these people out of there when they've been in there for so long. So
it's like the MMA electoral college. You just need to get rid of it, you know, restructure it, do something.
Change it, man. I mean, it's well, the biggest thing is that because of the UFC system of giving bonuses when you get certain finishes, or, you know, it doesn't help their cause when it's all in the hands of these people who have never experienced a fight a day in their life. Like, how is it that, you know, you're expecting this guy to judge my fight, but he's never thrown one punch? He doesn't know what a proper jab should be looking like when they get, you know, so it's like, how is it we rely on these guys? But, you know, I think going back to the fight, I think Masvidal, man, he showed it was a win-win for him taking this fight. You know, he got the contract.
He had no, outside of actually getting finished, he had no downside. Like, if he would have got beat, like if he got dogged like Tyron or something like that, that would have looked worse.
But even then they could have been like 6 days.
No. But like, if he had got dogged like on tape, it would have just looked bad, because that's just highlights and stuff. Because Usman laid on him, foot stomp, shoulder strike, that's nothing. And everybody would just be like, you're a bitch. Like, he only fought you on 6 days and all you did was fucking hold him against the cage, blah, blah, blah. So I think this was the best case scenario for him. Again, in my opinion, I just don't think it's just a bad stylistic matchup. I don't think he can beat Usman, even on a full training camp. But I'll always probably side with a wrestler over a striker in a matchup generally, especially somebody of like Usman's caliber.
I think he fought his perfect fight, honestly, man. Especially going with Trevor Whitman out there, rolling.
Oh, for sure, yeah. He never really got in any trouble, like, for the most part, on the feet. Like, him
hit
grinding.
a couple times when he strike with him, and he quickly realized, oh no, I can't.
No. You strike with Gaethje or whatever, and that's fine. But like, obviously, Gaethje's speed different than a Masvidal speed, even though Gaethje obviously is a beast in his own right.
Now Masvidal just has awkward angles sometimes, though, man. He throws like these overhand rights.
I didn't like how much he was using the leg kicks. I was like, that's going to set you up more, because you got to reset and balance yourself before he can shoot in on you. I wanted him to switch to a knee. Like you throw the boxing, instead of throwing the leg kick, have the knee ready for the takedown. throw an uppercut. He can throw any uppercuts. How you not going to throw uppercuts on a wrestler? That don't even make sense to me.
Well, and and Kamaru's clinch isn't really that great. Like him.
No. There was a couple times where Kamaru would like reach down at the legs. I was like, you could kill this man right now, and he didn't throw uppercut or knee ever. He threw the one like kind of fake joke around knee around the 4th round, but he was nowhere near it.
Near him, yeah.
2 things. One, I do want to give Kamaru credit because with that being said, he did kind of control the distancing like the way you needed to against Jorge.
Yeah.
I think with 6 weeks, Jorge has more in the gas tank. Does Jorge, is he a little bit more aggressive? Is he that first round Jorge for the first 3 rounds?
Mm-hmm.
No. And then the other thing is, do you guys think that this hurts the draw of Kamaru in the future? Because I think last night a lot of people got very fatigued with his style.
More people hate him now than hated him before, for sure.
So do you think people are going to tune in to see his next fight to see who can beat him, or do you think it's going to be kind of like almost like a Mighty Mouse situation where
the numbers will drop dramatically from this fight to that fight, regardless of who's on the co-main or all that other stuff? They will drop if it's just Kamaru headlining, 100%.
I don't think, going back to that, I agree with everything you just said. Especially because the next fight is most likely going to be Gilbert Burns.
He doesn't have a following. He doesn't have a following though.
But I think I like Gilbert in that fight. After watching him outclass Tyron in every way possible, I like Gilbert. He impressed me in that fight.
To me, he was a better stylistic matchup with Kamaru than Jorge was, even on a full camp of Jorge. Gilbert showed literally everything versus Tyron Woodley. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, clinch game, everything. Like, didn't give a shit. Hit him with everything, almost submitted him a couple times, almost finished him a couple times. He was hitting him with everything, and he was there for all 5.
Explosive the entire time. He was,
and he looked like he was still ready to go.
I think Kamaru is just more powerful, man. I think Kamaru takes that fight.
That size is a factor too. Like, he's big.
I think what happened with Burns? I missed why he got pulled out. What happened?
He got COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe if he coughs on Kamaru, I don't know.
But you're right. I think his numbers. I mean, granted, look, his numbers already weren't great. That's why Jorge, got into
brought him up.
UFC.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Listen, man, I need a good. If my dance partner ain't providing, how is it my fault? Why am I getting penalized if he can't provide?
Right.
I think it's definitely going to affect the numbers. I honestly don't even know if he gets a main event spot the next time. I think I
could see him being the co-main, or
I think their fight is going to be the co-main, and you put.
You throw him on there with like an Izzy Costa, something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
They do the Africa Strong.
That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect for them. And then if he gets by Burns,
if he gets by Burns, now we're really in an issue.
Where do we go from there?
Yeah, we're really at an issue there.
Because Masvidal already said he's not fighting Colby. He's like I lasted.
Say that, but that fight would be awesome. And
that fight would be amazing.
And people will watch it. So and Colby's not gonna lay on him. Colby's gonna fucking try to get out of him. Not that it's in his favor. Not that that's in his favor. But Colby the type of dude, like Colby, if Colby was willing to get at it with fucking Robbie Lawler, he'll get at it with anybody. Like that's he's like that. Kamaru's not really like that. Colby is like, as much as people hate him and stuff like that.
No, he's smarter. Yeah, he's a little bit more tactical. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
But he can obviously if he starts to lose, he can wrestle, do whatever he needs to do to win the fight.
I see what you mean. That division's in trouble if Burns doesn't beat him. That division, who, Damian Maia.
You're not gonna go with. No one's gonna pick Edwards over Usman. He already beat him one time. Yeah. No one's picking fucking Neil Magny over Usman.
Where's Wonder Boy in the rankings?
Wonder Boy, at least top 10.
He's number 6 behind Woodley.
He needs to fight somebody, I feel like.
Wonder Boy would be an interesting matchup specifically because he's so good at distance management. Good luck trying to take him down. Like, nobody's been able to be successful at corralling him. No. And even if you get close enough, then that's when you get blitzed. Like, that would be interesting. But again, because he's just a striker, if Kamaru Usman can get a hold of him, then we're talking about Kamaru Usman land.
Didn't Tyron take years off his life though in their fight?
Who?
He rocked him once.
Not to me. He only hit him that. He only really clipped him really good like once, like when they were on the ground. I think.
Yeah. But I mean, if
Then he
anything,
went for the then he went for the guillotine.
I think Pettis took some years off his life because that knockout stiffed him up.
Yeah, that was way worse.
And it was,
But
and
that was
actually,
also
he was
after-
fine though. He was fine after that. He was in the hospital, like, damn, I got caught.
Yeah, and to be fair, he got right. Like he brawled with was it Luque? That's Thompson fought. After he came back from getting knocked out, Vicente Luque, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And they brawled.
Ranked number 12.
Yeah, and they brawled, and he don't brawl with nobody. So like he's definitely still like
he got
there, I guess.
Yeah, the welterweight division it's gonna be hurting because I mean
I'm telling you,
and you don't really have somebody that's marketable outside of really Jorge. I mean,
right.
it would have been Anthony Pettis. It would have been Anthony Pettis maybe a few years ago, but you know he's not the same.
He would have got mauled by Usman.
No.
I mean, Nate Diaz has already made his money. I mean, it's not.
If Kamaru wants to bring the limelight back to the division, he has to finish Gilbert. He has to finish him. He won't.
He won't.
He won't. But
no. We're about to get a I don't want to say boring. I'm an MMA fan. I don't mind watching somebody wrestle somebody to sleep. That don't really bother me too much. We're just gonna get a lull here where Kamaru Usman's out here wrestling everybody to sleep.
Yeah.
If he gets past Burns, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be rough for Dana to kind of promote that, but he'll piggyback it off somebody else's fight because he's gonna have to.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think? Obviously, it's Burns for Kamaru. Who do we say who's for Jorge?
Colby would be great if they
said Colby. Yeah.
If they can figure that out. He made a great point where he was like, listen, man, Colby went 5 rounds, got taken out by this guy, and he had a full camp. He's like, I couldn't get taken out off 6 days. You know,
I'll hear you on that.
Granted,
but I'll also say
it wasn't the same fight.
Colby did way more damage to him too. If we want to be technical about it.
Yeah,
he did. He did.
He was winning. He was up 3-1.
Colby hit
into the fifth.
Kamaru with some shots, bro.
Yeah. He was up in his fight. Like regardless, if like I'm not like trying to side with Cobra and like that, but he was up in his fight. He did outstrike Kamaru. He did do damage to Kamaru. Yeah, he got finished, but you did no damage to Kamaru. I mean, he did some damage, but for the most part, you got held up against Cage.
You can give him an opportunity too. Yeah.
Jorge hasn't always been a welterweight, has he? My history.
No, he's a lightweight. He's a lightweight. I believe this is like his maybe fifth, sixth fight at welterweight. Something.
Do you think he goes down and gets back in the other division because the lightweight division is?
He did talk about weight cuts and stuff like that, but I think he was more upset that how big he got because the one thing about moving up was he didn't want to have to kill himself to make weight.
That was the point.
And so I don't think he'll go back down.
It wouldn't be
it's not
impossible.
impossible.
It would be beneficial for him.
It was not impossible though.
It would be beneficial for the fans, but yeah, I understand not for him.
Because for him personally, because there's some killers and he's gonna have to kill himself. Like he was saying.
Oh no, but like those are some fun fights for him though down there.
For sure.
Yeah.
But, if they probably paid him, if they pay him, he'll go down.
Imagine like Jorge fucking Dustin Poirier, like that would be amazing.
That's his buddy. He can't. They will never.
I'm just saying, like
I know.
Obviously, like Jorge,
him and Gaethje,
like
Ferguson,
those are
Dan
all
Hooker,
just like those are
any
all,
of those guys.
Even Jorge Hooker, like I would watch all of those. Like they're all good scraps.
But I think we've watched Jorge fight anybody at this point.
Right. But like obviously, to me, right now at welterweight, it's to me welterweight with him now losing to Kamaru. Like I know he's gonna He's gonna want to try to get one more crack at Kamaru before he makes any kind of decisions, like maybe about going back down. I think because I feel like he himself feels like he's like one away. Like if he can get an emphatic finish type of scenario, he could be right back there and then get a full camp to train to fight Kamaru. But oh man, like the welterweight division is just really sluggish right now. It feels like.
The sad thing is, like, yeah, Kamaru won, but to me, in kind of the grand scheme of things, the UFC welterweight division kind of lost last night because you needed Masvidal to pull in money to make all the rest of those fights interesting. Right now, I could care less. And, I'm a casual fan. I could care less if I see Colby fight, Leon Edwards or Tyron again or I think the only fight I would want to watch, and that's just for the style clash, would be him versus Stephen Wonderboy. That's really it.
There's that. The Leon Edwards fight would be interesting promotionally, just because the 3-piece Minnesota came from
And Gilbert Burns, obviously,
but
I wouldn't mind
their best bet, Dana's best bet is drama, bro. It's drama. And Colby
bro.
is what's gonna bring them.
Him and Colby can coach tough, and that shit would be crazy. It would be crazy, and people would love it.
Stupid. That would be a great move if they could actually have that happen. But with the pandemic right now,
I can still see them doing tough inside the Apex if they can get everybody like safely in one spot, more so than anything else.
In a bubble.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right because they don't get any outside interaction.
They do everything. Yeah, separated anyway. So if you can get everybody healthily tested and brought in to do the Ultimate Fighter, you could do the Ultimate Fighter for nothing because you keep them there anyway. And that's just like, and people would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Like if it's Kobe and Jorge, like it would sell itself.
I think that's really the best fight. Leon Edwards has a little bit of that drama because of what happened with them.
But nobody cares about Leon Edwards.
Kobe's a better story. Former teamate. He literally Masvidal brought Kobe in.
Shit. Yeah.
You know, it's just and the amount of shit talk. And you're right. I think Kobe will stand up with him more so than
he's definitely more willing than Kamaru. For
and either way, it's a great, if Masvidal wins, obviously, I think that gives them clout to go back to Kamaru with the full camp. And if Kobe wins, what a better fight than Kamaru Covington too.
Especially in a scenario where if Kobe could finish Jorge, not that I would say he would, but if he did,
but if he does,
you got Kobe like, I finished a guy you couldn't even do. You just laid on him, you fucking humping bitch, blah blah blah. And
the amount of shit
Kobe,
that he'll talk if he finishes. Yeah, the amount of shit he'll talk to Masvidal and to Kamaru will be on a whole nother level if Kobe.
It would be a whole nother. It would be awesome. I would love it because I like drama like that.
Yeah. What's next now? The next big fight now is going to be the trilogy.
Stipe. There's a fight next week too, though, right? Like Wednesday.
Wednesday.
There was a fight night, no? Right? Who's? I know Calvin Kattar is supposed to be fighting Dan Ige. Is that the next fight night?
Dan Ige. Yeah.
Dan Ige.
His last name sounds like a sickness. That's weird to me. Yeah, that man called Ige last.
Ige's Filipino, right? I think.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah, so fight night 172, Dan Ige versus Calvin Kattar, Tim Elliott, Ryan
It's gonna be a fucking fight.
You got Jimmy Rivera versus Cody Stamann.
Yep.
I can't say it. Didn't he just make he just fought recently, didn't he?
Cody Stamann fought Brian Kelleher.
Like a month ago, right?
Yep.
Like a week ago. Like a couple weeks ago. He beat Kelleher and then he's making a quick turnaround. Yeah.
Super quick. I mean,
I'm saying like 2 weeks at best. Like he just fought. He just fought.
No.
No, Kelleher did the same thing. Kelleher had just won and he fought immediately. Like next.
Look up when his last fight was. It had to be like a month, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks.
No. His last fight was June 6th. So a little over a month.
Yeah, so a month. Still, that's still really,
yeah, that's hella quick.
That's hella quick, bro. That's 30 days. So that means he got cleared though, because that means he only got like 30 days for his clearance or less than that. Because
I mean, he made quick work of that guy.
He didn't he didn't take any damage, so good for him. That should be an interesting fight night, man. Should be an interesting fight night.
I like any fights I can get at this point.
So seeing you guys, I know you, Tony in particular, Lindell. I don't know if you play the UFC games. You checked out the new trailer?
I do, yeah.
So I don't think I own any of the games, but I played the first two.
Yep.
Played them a lot with my friends, and it looks a lot better than it was back then. But I don't know. Something about sports games with EA outside of FIFA, it just seems really clunky to me. So I don't think I'll be getting it.
I'll get it only because I play all the UFC games.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is that it feels like they're going back to the animations that they had on if you played EA MMA, the first MMA game that EA made without the UFC.
Okay.
They had people from Strikeforce on it. They had a particular animation style that they went with on that game. It feels like they're leaning back that way.
Okay.
Maybe it saves them money or something like that or whatever, but I don't like it. I'm excited that they added in the backyard brawling aspect of it and the kickboxing aspect because I'm assuming you're going to be able to fight like that online too. Because that would be fire. Like
dope.
how they had like bare knuckle mode on Fight Night Champion.
You just know they're gonna do a John Claude Van Damme DLC.
Yeah, that's what they said that they were like basing that Kumite part off of was the John Claude Van Damme.
Nice.
But I'm excited for it. But graphically, it threw me off because it feels like they're going to go a bit more. At least it looked like it was going to be a bit more arcadey. To whereas to me, 3 was closer to a simulation style of the game, with like footwork and distance and stuff like that, which you had to like add into when you played it. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm surprised the beta isn't out yet, considering the game comes out August 14th.
Oh wow, soon.
But they asked everybody to sign up for beta codes. No beta. I sent in my request for the beta. I know several other people that did as well, but there's no beta out, and the game comes out in a month.
It's like a cash grab before the new consoles come out. They're just trying to get it out.
Oh, it's not because they'll auto upgrade any games. Not any game, but a lot of the games for Xbox, they'll auto up you to the new console if you bought the game before.
Buy for the regular,
Yeah, they'll auto up you, which I appreciate it. I was like, that's fine.
Supposedly the new console games are going to be like $70 instead of 60.
Right. I don't think PlayStation gets that.
No. PlayStation isn't doing that.
Yeah.
I'm a
which
PS4
is fine.
fan,
Obviously,
so.
there's
We get close to seeing Last of Us.
Each console, each console has their good
They're
parts
for
and
sure.
bad
I mean,
parts,
PlayStation is known for having some of the better exclusive games.
The only thing they have is
for sure, bro.
Hey. We have a
nothing. Nothing.
We have a urine controller. It's not a booty controller.
You have a trash controller. They have
urine. Not
only
trash.
a PlayStation camera. You can use any USB camera on Xbox.
Oh, it's true.
The operating system on Xbox is way smoother than PlayStation.
We can play on the PC. Some of the Xbox games.
I can plug my keyboard and my mouse up to my Xbox.
I can do the same thing on PS4.
Okay, I didn't know that. But
you're just throwing that one out just to see.
Xbox has better women.
Again, I have both consoles. I just don't like the controller or like the party layout for PlayStation. It's just weird. It's clunky. Like Xbox is seamless.
I think you can play PlayStation with Xbox controller though.
I have a thing for that to play with the Xbox controller. Yeah,
that's cool.
Y'all should do a show. Y'all should do a show for like the console reveal, like whenever the consoles come out, and do like a.
Bro,
I'll be getting
for the
both
Xbox
consoles,
Series X
so
comes out.
I'll do
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll do a breakdown on both of them if anybody wanted to do that, because I'm gonna get both.
Specs wise, I think Xbox is just like a little bit better than PlayStation.
Yeah, it's more powerful.
So I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna run. I think the Xbox is just gonna. I don't know. I don't know what the extra power means because the developers have been saying that it's been easier to develop games on the PS4 because of the processor.
I think it's load up times are going to be better on Xbox.
Load up times are going to be seamless, obviously. Yeah.
But PlayStation, I think I don't know if the frame rate's going to be better or by like a little bit. Xbox is going to have the ray tracing.
I'm excited for both. So
yeah.
Oh, they're both going to be amazing, man. And the games
can't wait.
are going to be stupid, bro. You saw the Valhalla trailer, the gameplay.
No, I have not seen the gameplay. They released the gameplay.
Is Valhalla the one with the girls flying, or is that something else?
You could play both. No, you could play as both. It's the same as like all the other the last two Assassin's Creed, or the last one. I mean, the Greek one, where Odyssey, where you could play as male or female.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like obviously,
they featured a woman character though. That's what they did.
Xbox did horrible with their trying to show their game showcase. PlayStation just absolutely killed them.
Yeah.
And they tried to like have whatever excuse they wanted, but I was like, come on, son, like you can't give me indie games. I don't give a fuck about your indie games. Don't Don't show me Forza again. Show me some fucking fancy shit. I don't want to see that.
Always Forza every time.
Yeah, every fucking time. I don't give a fuck about that goddamn.
Right? I don't
game.
give a fuck about Forza.
Take that fake
Who's
ass
excited to play?
Turismo out of here. I don't give a
Who's
fuck
excited
about
to play? Who's excited to play Grand Theft Auto 5 again on another new console?
No,
First ever
they
3
did.
console
I did see a
game.
leak.
3
I did see a
consoles.
leak.
I was
I
just
did
gonna
see a
say.
leak for Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm pretty sure.
Bro.
Yeah, but it won't be coming until at least 2022.
No, I think they said 2021, early 2021.
Really?
You sure? Even with the whole COVID thing?
That's true. A lot of stuff got pushed back because of the COVID.
But a lot of times these guys you can work from home if you make
Yeah,
sure.
I guess if you're like a debugger or graphic design.
But I mean, it's gonna be a good time, bro. I'm excited. My next game that I'm gonna die by is gonna be Cyberpunk because.
Good luck. That's never coming out.
You shut your whore mouth. You don't
it's
say that.
never coming out.
You put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I am ready for Halo Infinite. That's the only thing I want. I grew up as a Halo player. I wasn't a Call of Duty player.
All right, we got to podcast, man. We got to do one. Do one. Invite me on it so we can talk games for a couple hours.
Me and Kevin were talking about trying to do a gaming one, so for sure, I'll let y'all
do
know.
like a gaming day, like a game podcast day, maybe like how you do Sunday MMA thing.
We can knock it out.
I'd be down if y'all want me. I'd be down.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Lindell, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Glad to always have you guys on, man. For real, man. Appreciate y'all.
I wish my beard was as full as yours, but I
know, right? Every time I see him, he's always like,
I work for Disney, bro. So like, I'm taking advantage because Disney won't ever let me have it this fucking long, bro. So even Marriott wouldn't let me have it this long. So I'm enjoying it while I can. I'm trying to go for the hobo beard, baby. I'm trying to go for that Mazda.
Have you trimmed it out? Did you trim it up since last time? I thought it was longer last time.
Nah, bro.
Maybe it's just thicker now.
It's just I brushed it up a little bit, so it's not like looking like craziness spread out.
You gotta pick it out, make it look real long.
You know, make it look fluffy, shine. But all right, fellas, I'll call it a night. It's a pleasure having y'all.
All right, thanks for having me on.
All you lifers out there.
Nice to finally see y'all for a change.
Yeah.
Not just voices anymore.
Right? Well, lifers, y'all have a great night. Peace.
Peace.